It has been quite some time since we have gotten detailed aerial views of the nooks and crannies of Universal Epic Universe. This past week, BioReconstruct has delivered an enormous set of new aerial views for us to break down and see what has been going on around this highly anticipated theme park. All around the park, there have been a number of new details installed or revealed, from the forest growing thicker in Dark Universe, to a new street full of facade being revealed in the new Wizarding World, to the barrel being installed on Minecart Madness that guests will rocket through on their journey through the jungle ruins. All of this and more on this week's Universal Epic Universe Construction Update. Starting this update off just south of Epic Universe at Stella Nova and Terra Luna Resorts. Universal this past week has released more details of what we can expect from these new resorts. And if you would like to read those details, be sure to visit Universal's website for more. As for the physical progress of the resorts, the exterior tiles have begun on the arrival side of Terra Luna, as the tiles are starting to wrap up on the pool side. Towards the maintenance building of Terra Luna, concrete is starting to be poured from the roadway towards the delivery dock. Out front, a lot of the parking lot curbs are formed and the parking lot is starting to be paved as well. At Stella Nova, the majority of the equipment and materials around the pool area have been completely removed, indicating concrete may be starting soon. We can see concrete being formed near the maintenance and delivery dock, so it is likely to move towards the pool next. On the arrival side of the resort, the majority of the parking lot has been paved for the first time. Looking carefully behind Stella Nova, towards the entrance of Epic Universe, we can make out a walkable sidewalk from these sister resorts to the new park, confirming that there will be a pathway similar to the ones found connecting the resorts on the main Universal property. This walkway, however, does cross a large road it seems, so you'll have to watch out while crossing. Making our way towards the entrance to Epic Universe, a large circular courtyard has been poured just before the security plaza. Around this courtyard, there are also what looks like 4 garden foundations, or possibly fountains evenly spaced. Between the security plaza and the Kronos Tower, the rockwork along the walls on either side of the tower are continuing sculpting and are still awaiting paint. Inside of Celestial Park, the first thing guests are met by are a number of cascading waterfalls and an overlook which gives a view of all of Celestial Park. Recently, 2 bridge frames have been installed over the waterfalls which guests will be able to walk over onto the island inside of the waterfalls. These waterfalls collect in a basin that is at the base of the Atlantic restaurant, where it seems that all of the windows have been installed. Several more windows are visible this update, and it is safe to assume that the walls still covered have glass as well. We can see that each glass wall is made up of a number of smaller panes of glass, but still gives guests dining the feeling of being inside of a fish tank. 2 of the other dining locations inside of Celestial Park are the Mexican and Italian dining locations, where we now have some vertical progress on this newly started project. Utility work and foundation preparation is still going on in several areas of this site. Near the bridge separating the first and second water feature in Celestial Park, we can see several curbs popping up, giving us a better idea of how some of these walkways will be in this area of Celestial Park. Inside of the second water feature, workers can be seen pressure washing the basin in preparation to continue the painting that has progressed some since we last checked in. Overlooking this fountain is Constellation Carousel, where we can see workers painting the main ribs of the dome gold. Inside of the main dome, we can see more work has progressed on the platform, as well as an ornamental disc is now hanging from the cupola. Just on the other side of the entrance and exit to Constellation Carousel sits the building which houses the Super Nintendo store and the quick service dining location of Pizza Moon. This building has started to receive stonework on both ends of the building, similar to the stonework found on the Super Nintendo World portal. Just up Celestial Park is another dining location of Oaken Star Tavern, where we can see brickwork on each end of this building starting as well. At the dual racing launch coaster of Starfall Racers, with the completion of the painting of the rocks at the front of the coaster, the green track can be seen unwrapped in this area. Recently, the track has been covered in plastic wrap to avoid any paint being sprayed on the tracks. With this plastic being removed, we should start to see the green track being tested in conjunction with the yellow track. Moving towards the entrance tunnel to Starfall Racers, the courtyard covering has been replaced as the pathway continues to make its way down the track towards the back of the coaster station. Inside of the extended queue area, the utility work continues. As we can see, those trenches have been flooded due to a recent rainstorm. Several of the kiosks around the main show fountain appear to have their roofs completed. The rocks inside of the fountain waterfall are still awaiting paint. The pathways that make their way between the fountain waterfall and the Blue Dragon Pan-Asian restaurant are starting to take shape as more of the curbing and bridges have been installed and formed. The courtyard in front of the Blue Dragon seems to be nearing completion as more rocks and trees have lined the waterfall along the front of this location. Scaffolding has also been installed along the front of the building for the first time. High above the Blue Dragon sits the Helios Grand Hotel, where about a third of the dome high atop the roof has been covered in the corrugated metal roofing. Several pieces can be seen staged on either side of the dome on the roof awaiting to be installed. In the pool area of the resort, the floor of the pool has been poured, as the metal for the walls is now being prepared to be poured as well. Just behind the pool looks to be the hot tub for the resort, which looks to be about the same progress along as the main pool. Next door to the Helios Grand Hotel sits the new Wizarding World of Harry Potter in the streets of Paris, where out front near the entry portal, more trees have been planted. Near the entry portal as well is another kiosk where the roofing has just begun to be installed. Inside of the streets, there is a lot of work going on near the entrance to the theater show building, where workers can be seen installing more tent poles before concrete is poured. Between the theater entrance and the replica arch, there are new areas of sidewalk currently being poured since the completion of the street near the entrance to the Ministry of Magic attraction, where scaffolding has been reinstalled, likely for painting. The extended queue area for the Ministry of Magic ride seems to be having some excavation work done, as seen by the square holes that are currently filled with water due to rain. Towards the back of the land, a new section of street near the exit to the theater show has been revealed from behind its scaffolding. This area looks like there is a hotel, as well as a warehouse or factory windows where a slogan can be seen painted on the windows. The hotel has the year 1879 painted on the facade as well. As more concrete is poured in the streets, we get closer and closer to the final look of the Parisian streets and seeing how this new land will stack up against the two existing Wizarding Worlds in Orlando already. Separated by Starfall Racers from the Wizarding World is the magical world of How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Burke, where several areas of this distant land are coming to life. On the backside of the entry portal to the land, the sculpted rocks are beginning to be painted. Interestingly, the color looks very similar to the rocks at the front of Starfall Racers. However, this is a very small section, and there's still a lot of painting to go on the portal. The largest piece of news from last update behind Dragon Racers Rally was the installation of several dragon houses on the grandstand frame. There have been a few additional dragon houses installed since the last time around, and also scaffolding is beginning to surround the grandstand frame and dragon houses. The entrance to Dragon Racers Rally can be seen with wire beginning to be shaped as logs, just as we can see in the official renderings. A short walk from the entrance to Dragon Racers Rally is the kids' play area of Viking Training Camp, where the second major concrete pour has been completed, and now workers can be seen preparing the third large pour. Inside of these pours, we can see footers for the future play area, which should start to be installed in the coming months. Inside of the village in front of Mead Hall, several of the log structures are beginning to receive their roof details. For the first time, the Vikings that will guard the entrance to Mead Hall can be seen sculpted peering through the scaffolding that surrounds them. High above the land at the top of Mead Hall, we can see the house at the top of the mountain is now painted. The fire drill side of Mead Hall rockwork is also appears to be complete. The unthemed portion of this wall will likely be hidden by a fence as back of house. In the back of the land is the show building for the Untrainable Dragon Show, where exterior board can be seen being placed nearby. This location of work is actually for the character meet and greet. Behind the building is a large square concrete pad which has recently been surrounded by freshly planted grass. This area is rumored to be the airfield for drones that are designed as dragons to fly high above the land. Moving back towards the front of the Isle of Burke, we return to Spitfire Grill, where a significant amount of detail has been added to the top of the tower. We originally thought the tower was near complete, but with the addition of these details, we will have to keep looking for more to be installed. On the ground below, in the seating area for Spitfire Grill, which overlooks Fire Drill, one of the walls as well as several footers for the covering can be seen ready for framing. On the other side of Celestial Park sits Dark Universe, where before guests enter the land, they are met by the entry courtyard, which is nearing completion. The Green Ring, which was just started last update, has now made it all the way around the courtyard. Next to the courtyard sits another kiosk where the roofing was just started, like the kiosk near the Wizarding World portal. Between the entry courtyard and portal, there have been a number of trees planted to match the forest found inside of Dark Universe. As guests make their way into the land, they follow a winding path that is lined with gravestones, which has since been covered in plastic, same as the vines found near the bottom of the manor in the back of the land. Inside of the village, thought to be named Darkmoor, several sidewalks are currently being prepared for concrete, as seen by the yellow waterproofing layers. In the center of the village, a circular concrete form is being constructed, which looks to be for a fountain. The other circular structure in the village was indeed for a garden, since a large tree has been planted. Towards the back of the village, the walkways that have been being poured for several weeks have made their way into the village. After leaving the village, guests enter the Dark Forest, which has seen more trees added throughout the land since the last update, growing the ever-dense forest. Front and center in the forest is the Gothic-style manor, which houses the feature ride of the land. On the bridge before guests enter the manor, workers can be seen installing individual stones. Near the presumed exit of the ride, there is a new walkway that has been formed that is tucked along the exterior of the manor. On the back side of the manor, near the extended queue area, scaffolding has been reinstalled on the facade. The berm behind the queue area, which trees were planted several weeks ago, has had grass planted around the trees, finishing the landscaping on the berm. Next door at Burning Blaze Tavern, there has been what looks like a themed sign frame added just off of the walkway near the entrance to Burning Blades. Work continues on the windmill to prepare for the installation of the blades above. Inside of the tracks of Curse of the Werewolf, the wagon is completely visible near the entrance to the queue. Just on the other side of the main walkway, between the queue entrance and the barn mid-track, is a structure which looking inside looks to be a kiosk for pictures or a building where lockers will be located for guests to use while riding. Next door to Dark Universe sits the colorful world of Super Nintendo World, where more trees have been planted on the left side of the entry portal. Inside of the land, near Peach's castle, a large round themed element can be seen staged nearby for installation. Across the Mushroom Kingdom, workers can be seen applying that gray base coat to the turrets of Bowser's Fortress, which acts as the front for the Mario Kart ride. Next door, at the interactive shop, individual blocks can be seen shaped through the scaffolding. The ride vehicles for Yoshi's Adventure are once again covered, and alongside the ride pathway, there seems to be several of the themed structures that look to be ready for sculpting. On the bottom level of the land, the first concrete pour has been completed, as well as several other circular foundations near this area as well. In front of Toad's Cafe, scaffolding has been installed around the newly installed entry feature. Behind Yoshi's Adventure and Mount Beanpole sits Donkey Kong Country, where the most work in the land has taken place this update. On the back wall at the base of Mount Beanpole, on either side of the entrance to the area, theming has begun to be installed. In such a short time, it seems that Minecart Madness has seen the most work in theming done since we last went through Epic Universe, and in my opinion, looks like the coolest coaster in all of Epic Universe. Near the splash area of the coaster, not only is the kiosk beginning to receive theming, but there is also wooden crates on top of the painted rocks inside of the coaster tracks. Near the top of the coaster around the lift hill has seen the majority of the progress made this update. The barrel that has been behind the coaster building for the last several updates has finally been installed on top of the lift hill. Looking through the barrel from the top of the coaster, it looks as though the bottom of the barrel has been broken out from minecarts moving through it. At a closer look of the barrel, it appears to have a weathered look around the straps. Around the character that was placed last update, there have been flowers and vines now installed. Near this character, more trestles have been added to the coaster tracks as well. At the very top of the coaster building, the support frame for the golden head appears to be 100% painted and ready to receive that head. Looking closer at the waterfall portion of this structure, we can see water collecting in the top and bottom pools from a recent rainstorm. Will we continue to see this tremendous progress at Minecart Madness next time we check in at Epic Universe? Or will we see another part of the park explode with new theming? Time will tell. But until next time, I would like to thank BioReconstruct for his aerial views of Epic Universe. And be sure to subscribe to Adventures Away so you do not miss the next Universal Epic Universe construction update. Until next time, travelers, have a great one.